May 24th, 1940. Just after sunrise, outside the French port town of Dunkirk, you can hear the wind moving across flat fields. It carries smoke, burned fuel, and salt from the nearby sea. German Panzer tanks sit in long rows along narrow roads. Their engines, moments ago alive with vibration, are now silent. Steel holes cool in the morning air. Crews wait inside, hands resting on controls, eyes fixed forward. Ahead of them lies open ground. Beyond it, the low buildings and docks of Dunkirk. And beyond that, the gray surface of the English Channel. For days, these tanks have continued to run. They smashed through Belgium. They broke French lines in the Ardennes. They crossed rivers under fire and raced west faster than any army in modern history. Officers spoke of total victory. Maps were crossed out and redrawn almost daily because the advance moved faster than the ink could dry. Now the enemy is trapped. Nearly 400,000 Allied soldiers are pressed into a shrinking pocket along the coast. British Expeditionary Force units, French divisions, men without supply lines, men without retreat. Behind them is the sea. Before them stands the most powerful army in Europe. German commanders at the front know this moment. They have waited their entire careers for it. One final push. One closing movement. The destruction of Britain's only field army. Then the order arrives. It comes down the chain of command in clear, simple words. Halt the armored advance. Hold present positions. No explanation. No time limit. The order is confirmed at the highest level. Adolf Hitler himself has approved it. On the road south of Dunkirk, officers stare at each other in disbelief. Some think it must be temporary. Others believe it is a mistake. But orders are orders. Engines remain off. Guns stay silent. Inside the Allied pocket, the situation is desperate. Roads are jammed with exhausted soldiers and burned-out vehicles. Luftwaffe aircraft roar overhead, dropping bombs on columns and crossroads. Towns burn. Civilians flee with what they can carry. Yet something unexpected begins to happen. The pressure eases. British officers notice the change first. German armor is no longer advancing at full speed. The expected attack does not come. Time passes. An hour. Then another. Defensive lines are formed along canals and villages. French units take positions on the outer edge of the pocket. Engineers destroy bridges behind them. Wounded men are moved closer to the coast. Equipment that cannot be saved is smashed or burned. Across the Channel in England, the news reaches London. The army is cornered. The situation looks hopeless. Prime Minister Winston Churchill is warned that the loss could decide the war. Plans are drawn in urgency and fear. Ships are gathered. Not just warships, but anything that can float. The idea is simple and impossible at the same time. Pull the army off the continent under enemy fire. Back near Dunkirk, German tanks remain still. Their guns could already reach the perimeter. Their tracks could crush the last defenses. But they wait. No one on either side understands the full meaning of this pause. Not yet. But history is shifting quietly minute by minute, while engines stay cold and the sea keeps moving. The moment that should end the war is slipping away. September 3rd, 1939. Europe is already at war, but in the West, the guns are quiet. Britain and France have declared war on Germany after the invasion of Poland. Yet weeks pass with little fighting. Soldiers wait behind fortifications. Politicians speak of resolve. Newspapers call it a strange war. Beneath that calm, both sides prepare for something far larger. Germany prepares differently. Its leaders know they cannot fight another long war of exhaustion. They remember 1914 to 1918. Trenches, stalemate, collapse. This time they want speed, shock, movement, tanks, aircraft, and mobile infantry working together in one fast. Later it will be called blitzkrieg, but in 1940 it is simply a gamble. France trusts its defenses. The Maginot Line stretches along the German border, a wall of concrete and steel. French planners believe any attack will come through Belgium, as it did in the First World War. Britain sends a British Expeditionary Force across the Channel to support this plan. Together, they are confident they can stop Germany. German planners see the weakness. They design a plan that looks reckless. While part of the army moves into Belgium, another force will drive through the Ardennes forest. Thick trees, narrow roads, hills and rivers. The Allies believe tanks cannot pass there in large numbers. They are wrong. On May 10, 1940, Germany attacks. Paratroopers fall from the sky in the Netherlands. Armored columns roll into Belgium. Allied forces move forward exactly as expected, racing north to meet the threat. This is what the German command wants. At the same time, panzer divisions push into the Ardennes. They move day and night. Traffic jams form, but discipline holds. Engineers repair roads. Bridges are seized intact. On May 13th, German forces cross the Meuse River. French defenses crack. The breakthrough is complete. From that moment, the campaign turns into a chase. German tanks surge west. They cut across northern France, ignoring exposed flanks. Orders are simple. Drive for the coast. Do not stop. Do not wait. Allied command collapses under the speed. Communications fail. Units lose contact. Counterattacks are planned too late and launched too weak. French reserves are misplaced. British units fight hard but are forced back again and again. On May 20th, German forces reach the English Channel near Abbeville. The trap is closed. The British Expeditionary Force and several French armies are now isolated in northern France and Belgium. Their supply lines are gone. Their retreat routes are cut. Only the sea remains behind them. Inside the pocket, conditions worsen quickly. Ammunition runs low. Fuel is scarce. Air attacks strike roads and towns without pause. Refugees mix with soldiers. Confusion spreads. Orders conflict. Maps no longer match reality. German commanders at the front see the scale of their success. Never before has such a large enemy force been so surrounded. Many believe the war can end here, in one final destruction. Yet even as victory seems certain, new doubts appear at higher levels. Reports warn of stretched supply lines. Tank units are far ahead of infantry. The ground near the coast is wet and broken by canals. And above all, there is confidence. Confidence that the enemy is already beaten. It is at this moment, with the trap closed and the prize in sight, that hesitation enters the German command, and the road to Dunkirk takes a sudden, fateful turn. May 23, 1940. Late afternoon. German headquarters near Charleville. Maps cover long tables. Red arrows point west, then north, then stop abruptly near the coast. Officers stand in tight groups, voices low, tension clear. Reports from the front arrive every hour. The enemy is trapped. The opportunity is clear. At the front, Panzer commanders are impatient. General Heinz Guderian studies his situation reports. His tanks are intact. Fuel is low but sufficient. The resistance ahead is weak and disorganized. From his view, speed has brought victory, and speed must finish it. He orders his units forward, pressing toward Dunkirk, convinced that delay is dangerous. But above him, doubts are growing. Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, commanding Army Group A, sees the campaign from a wider angle. His armored forces are far ahead of their infantry. Supply columns stretch back along damaged roads. If the Allies counterattack from the south, the spearhead could be cut off. Rundstedt believes a pause is wise. Terrain adds to concern. The land near Dunkirk is flat and low. Canals crisscross the area. Marshy ground lies beneath thin soil. Officers worry that tanks could bog down or be damaged, losing the very weapon that made victory possible. Protecting the Panzer divisions becomes a priority. Then there is the Luftwaffe. Hermann Göring, its commander, speaks with confidence. He promises his aircraft can finish the trapped Allied armies. Bombers will strike the beaches. Fighters will destroy ships. No escape, he claims, is possible under German air power alone. Göring takes his case directly to Adolf Hitler. Hitler listens. He is pleased with the campaign so far. France appears close to collapse. He does not want to risk his tanks in unnecessary fighting. His memories of the First World War still shape his thinking. He fears sudden reversals and long, grinding battles. Air power seems like the clean solution. On May 24th, Hitler confirms a decision. German armored units are ordered to halt their advance toward Dunkirk. They are to hold their current positions and wait for infantry to catch up. The Luftwaffe is given responsibility to destroy the enemy in the pocket. The order is sent down the chain of command. At the front, reactions are mixed. Some officers accept it without question. Others are stunned. Guderian argues against the pause. He warns that the enemy will use the time to escape. His objections are noted, then ignored. The halt is supposed to be brief, but hours pass. Then a full day. Panzer engines remain silent. Crews wait beside their vehicles. The sound of battle continues in the distance, but the decisive blow does not fall. Inside the Allied pocket, the effect is immediate. British and French commanders sense the change. The pressure has eased. German armor is no longer pushing hard. Defensive positions are strengthened along canals and villages. Units reorganize. Exhausted soldiers are given moments to rest. Across the Channel, in Britain, the pause is invisible but vital. The Royal Navy accelerates its planning. Ships are gathered from ports along the south coast. Naval officers realize that time, the rarest resource in war, has been granted. Meanwhile, the Luftwaffe begins its work. German aircraft attack Dunkirk relentlessly. Bombs fall on the harbor and town. Fires spread. Smoke rises high into the sky. But air power has limits. Weather interferes. Targets move. Ships sail at night. The Halt Order, intended to secure victory, has created uncertainty. The most powerful weapon of the campaign is no longer in motion. And as German tanks wait, the enemy prepares to do the unthinkable. Escape. May 26, 1940. Evening. The waters off Dunkirk glow under burning oil and fire. You can hear explosions rolling across the harbor. Buildings collapse along the waterfront. Smoke drifts out over the sea, mixing with low cloud. British destroyers approach the coast at full speed, weaving through mines and wreckage. Their decks are already crowded with sailors preparing for wounded men. Operation Dynamo has begun. The plan is simple and desperate. Remove as many soldiers as possible before the German ring closes completely. The port is damaged. The beaches are exposed. Enemy aircraft dominate the sky. Yet ships keep coming. At first, the harbor is used. Soldiers run along broken piers, while bombs fall nearby. Loading is fast and chaotic. Some ships take hundreds aboard in minutes. Others are hit before they can leave. The water fills with debris, oil, and bodies. German aircraft attack again and again. Stuka bombers scream downward. Sirens howling. Bombs strike ships and docks with precision. Several destroyers are sunk. Others are damaged and forced to withdraw. The harbor becomes unusable. Attention shifts to the beaches. Miles of sand stretch east of Dunkirk. There are no docks, no cover. Soldiers form long lines in shallow water, rifles slung, packs heavy. They wait quietly. Discipline holds. Panic is rare. Men understand that order is survival. Small boats begin to appear. Fishing vessels, tugs, pleasure craft, ferries. Some are crewed by naval reservists, others by civilians who volunteered or were requisitioned. They move slowly across the channel, often under fire, carrying small groups from shore to larger ships offshore. French troops hold a perimeter. While British units are evacuated first, French divisions fight, delaying actions on the outer edge of the pocket. In towns like Bergs and Lille, they resist fiercely. Their goal is not victory, but time. Every hour, they hold saves lives on the beach. German ground forces resume their advance. Infantry pushes forward cautiously. Artillery is brought up, but the delay has changed the situation. Allied defenses are organized. Bridges are destroyed. Canals block movement. Urban fighting slows progress. The Luftwaffe continues its assault. Ships are sunk daily. Losses are heavy. But air power alone cannot stop the evacuation. Weather reduces visibility. Smoke screens hide targets. Most importantly, ships move at night, when aircraft are less effective. Above the beaches, air battles rage. Royal Air Force fighters engage German aircraft inland. protecting the evacuation routes. Many soldiers below never see them and believe they were abandoned. In reality, pilots fight and die to keep the skies contested. Day after day, the operation continues. By day, men wait under attack. By night, ships load and depart. Wounded soldiers are carried aboard. Exhausted men collapse on decks. The channel becomes a moving bridge of steel and wood. German commanders watch with frustration. Reports confirm thousands escaping each night. The chance to destroy the enemy is slipping away. What should have been a final blow has become a race against time. As May turns into June, the perimeter shrinks. Ammunition runs low. The end approaches, but the escape continues. Each hour gained feels stolen from fate itself. Officers glance toward the horizon, counting ships, counting minutes. German guns grow closer, their flashes visible at night. The sand grows crowded. Orders become sharper. Silence follows every departure. The question is no longer how many can be saved, but how long the opening will remain before steel tracks finally roll again. Before dawn breaks, everything may change, and no one knows which side time favors. The moment the war changed. June 1st, 1940. Night. The beaches east of Dunkirk. The sand is dark with oil and footprints. Fires burn in the distance, marking where ships were hit hours earlier. Along the waterline, soldiers stand shoulder to shoulder, waiting in silence. Many have been here for days. Their faces are hollow with exhaustion. Their eyes follow the dark shapes moving offshore. German artillery is closer now. Shells land behind the perimeter. Buildings collapse in the town. The defensive ring shrinks with every hour. French rear guard units fight street by street, buying time with their lives. They know what happens when the line breaks. At sea, the evacuation continues. British destroyers approach under cover of darkness. Smaller vessels shuttle back and forth, carrying men through shallow water to larger ships. The system is practiced now. Orders are sharp. Movements are quick. Every minute counts. By this point, the scale of the escape is becoming clear. Thousands have already crossed the channel, then tens of thousands. British commanders can hardly believe the numbers coming in. What began as a desperate rescue is turning into something else. Survival on a scale no one predicted. For Britain, this changes everything. The British Expeditionary Force was expected to be lost. Its destruction would have left the island almost defenseless. Without it, there would be no trained army to resist invasion. Political pressure to seek peace would have been intense. Instead, the army is coming home. Winston Churchill understands the danger of illusion. He warns that evacuations are not victories. Equipment has been lost. Guns, tanks, vehicles, and supplies lie burned or abandoned in France. From a military view, it is a defeat, but the men are alive. Nearly 200,000 British soldiers are saved. They carry experience. They carry discipline. They can be rebuilt. Britain still has a fighting force. Across the channel, German commanders assess the situation with growing concern. The evacuation should never have been possible on this scale. Reports confirm that whole divisions have escaped. The opportunity to destroy Britain's army is gone. Frustration spreads through the command structure. The Halt Order now looks different. What was meant as caution appears, in hindsight, as hesitation. Tanks that could close the pocket waited while ships gathered and defenses hardened. Air power alone did not deliver promised result. This moment leaves a mark. For Adolf Hitler, the campaign in France is still a triumph. Paris will fall. France will surrender. Yet Dunkirk plants a seed of overconfidence mixed with doubt. The belief that enemies will collapse quickly. The belief that bold decisions need no correction. For British soldiers, Dunkirk becomes memory and warning. They remember waiting under bombs. They remember the sound of engines at night. They remember stepping onto decks crowded with men who thought they would die on the beach. Many will fight again, carrying those memories into future battles. By June 4th, the final ships depart. Behind them, French troops who held the line are captured. Their sacrifice ensures the escape of others. The beaches fall silent. The sea returns to gray calm. The evacuation is over. The war, however, is not. What should have ended the conflict has instead ensured its continuation. A decision made days earlier now reveals its full weight. The escape from Dunkirk does not win the war, but it makes victory possible. And that possibility will soon be tested in the skies above Britain. June 1940. Southern England. Dawn breaks over quiet airfields and crowded ports. The men who escaped Dunkirk step onto British soil, exhausted, dirty, and silent. Many carry nothing but rifles. Some have no weapons at all. They are alive, and that alone feels unreal. Trains wait to carry them inland. Civilians line the platforms. There is no cheering, only relief and disbelief. Britain has survived the moment. The army that should have been destroyed is home. It is wounded, stripped of equipment, but intact. Officers begin reorganizing units almost immediately. Training resumes. New weapons are ordered. Defenses along the coast are strengthened. Time, bought at Dunkirk, is now used with urgency. Across the Channel, Germany completes its victory in France. Paris falls. The French government signs an armistice. On paper, Hitler has achieved a triumph greater than many believed possible. Western Europe lies under German control. Yet one enemy remains. Britain. The survival of the British army changes German calculations. Plans for an invasion of England are discussed. Operation Sea Lion depends on one condition: control of the air. That battle will come next. The Halt Order at Dunkirk now begins to echo. Within the German command, opinions harden. Some officers quietly believe a decisive chance was lost. Others insist the outcome would have been the same. Tanks, they argue, might have suffered heavy losses in the low ground. The debate never fully ends. What is clear is the pattern that follows. Hitler grows more confident in his judgment. He believes success proves his instincts are right. He intervenes more directly in military decisions. Generals are overruled. Flexibility narrows. Orders become rigid. Dunkirk becomes an early warning, though few recognize it at the time. For Britain, Dunkirk becomes something else. Not a victory, but a story of endurance. The phrase Dunkirk spirit enters the national language. It describes calm under pressure, cooperation in crisis, the idea that survival itself can be a form of strength. The story spreads. Civilian boats become symbols, even though many were operated by naval crews. The image matters more than the detail. It reminds people that the war is not only fought by generals and armies, but by ordinary individuals facing impossible choices. For the soldiers who escaped, the war continues. Many will fight in North Africa against German forces, led by experienced commanders. Others will land in Italy. Some will return to France in 1944, stepping onto beaches once again under fire. Dunkirk follows them in memory. For France, the legacy is more painful. French troops fought and died to hold the perimeter. Tens of thousands were captured after the evacuation ended. Their role was long overshadowed. Later histories restore their place, acknowledging that without their resistance, the escape would have failed. When historians look back, Dunkirk resists simple judgment. It is not a clear victory or defeat. It is a moment shaped by decisions, pauses, and assumptions. A reminder that war is not only about strength, but timing. The Halt Order was meant to secure success. Instead, it allowed an enemy to survive and adapt. From that survival came the Battle of Britain, the long war that followed, and the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany. History often turns not on what is done, but on what is delayed. At Dunkirk, silence carried as much weight as firepower. Understanding that silence helps us understand how fragile moments shape the world that follows.